What if I told you gold is surging again, but not for the reasons you're rehearing on the news? You've probably seen the headlines blaming inflation, political drama, or global uncertainty. But behind the scenes, the real reason money is flooding into gold might surprise you. And if you have any investments, a retirement account, or even just a savings plan, what's happening right now could have a huge impact on your financial future. So today, I'm breaking down exactly why gold is spiking, what this means for the US economy, and most importantly, what it could mean for your money. Now, let's be real. Historically, gold has not been a great investment. If you look at long-term charts, the stock market has consistently run circles around gold. Companies like Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft have created enormous value, while gold has mostly just sat there, gathering dust. But here's where things get interesting. This year, gold has actually started outpacing the stock market, and that flips the entire script. Think about it. When you buy a stock, like Amazon, you're betting on a company that's working non-stop to make more money. They're figuring out how to deliver groceries faster, build bigger cloud servers, and innovate into new markets. That's value creation. Gold, it just sits there. It doesn't hire employees, it doesn't invent AI, and it definitely doesn't sell iPhones. Sure, you can use it for jewelry or dentistry, but for the most part, it just stares back at you from a vault. That's why, traditionally, gold has been seen as a hedge protection for when things go wrong. Recessions, inflation, geopolitical messes. People buy gold when they're scared. But here's the twist. Today, even the biggest hedge funds and giant institutions are starting to see gold as more than just insurance. They're calling it an actual investment. Take BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world. You don't have to like them, but you can't ignore them. BlackRock is now saying gold isn't just a hedge anymore. It's becoming a legitimate asset class to invest in. That is a major shift in thinking. So, let's talk about what usually pushes gold higher. Printing more money, lowering interest rates, a rising national debt, and doubts about the US dollar. Each of these adds fuel to inflation fears. And when people worry about their dollars losing value, they look for something safe, something outside the traditional financial system. That's where gold shines. But here's what's different now. Gold is going up, even though the usual forces don't fully explain it. Interest rates are high and the dollar is strong, conditions that normally push gold down. Yet, prices keep climbing. Why? BlackRock points to two big reasons. First, central banks around the world are buying massive amounts of gold. And second, America's ballooning national debt. They're right. Around the world, central banks have been stocking up on gold since the pandemic, and they haven't stopped. At the same time, US debt keeps hitting record highs. Every year, we're spending close to $1 trillion just paying the interest on that debt. Let that sink in. $1 trillion gone before we even touch the principal amount. Historically, the safest investment in the world was US Treasuries. Lending money to the government was considered risk-free. Why? Because Uncle Sam can always pay you back either by raising taxes or by printing more money. But here's the problem. If the government pays you back in dollars that are worth less because they VA printed so much, your so-called risk-free return loses its value. That's why institutions, wealthy investors, and central banks are hedging with gold. They don't just want their money back, they want it to hold its value. And some countries are buying gold not just for safety, but to slowly reduce their dependence on the US dollar. That's a very big deal. So, what does this all mean for you and me? Well, BlackRock argues that gold is no longer acting like a simple hedge against stocks. It's becoming a long-term store of value. It's almost like buying a piece of land. It just sits there, but people trust it to hold worth when other things might not. Now, let's get practical. How can regular people actually invest in gold? Before I explain, let me give you two quick disclaimers. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on YouTube sharing what I do, and investing is risky. You can and will lose money sometimes. I personally buy a little physical gold each month. It makes up about 2% of my portfolio. For me, it's more of a safety play than a primary investment. We that side here are three main ways to get exposure to gold. Option 1. Physical gold. This means coins, bars, or bullion. You can buy it online or from a local dealer. Some websites even let you buy fractional shares, and once you've bought enough, they'll ship a gold bar or coin right to your door. But storage is key. You have to decide if you'll keep it in a safe at home, a bank vault, or a private vault. Option 2. Gold ETF. The easiest example is the ticker GLD. These trade just like stocks, but they're backed by physical gold held in a vault somewhere. You don't get to touch the gold at us. Basically a paper contract, but you do get exposure to its price movements easily. Option 3. Gold mining stocks. These are companies that are actually digging gold out of the ground. When gold prices rise, their profits usually rise too. But remember, mining stocks carry the same risks as any other company. Bad management, labor issues, high costs, and competition can all affect their performance. So which is best? That really depends on your goals. Me. I like physical gold because I'd rather own the real thing than a piece of paper representing it. It's kinda like how some Bitcoin fans insist on holding actual Bitcoin instead of a Bitcoin ETF. But whichever path you choose, remember these gold does not always go up. After the 2008 crash, gold soared until 2012. Then, it slumped for almost 8 years, only hitting new highs again during the pandemic. So, don't get swept up in the hype. Gold is not Nvidia or Tesla. It's not going to shoot to the moon overnight. It's a slow, steady store of value that is sometimes flat, sometimes falling, and sometimes rising. If you chase it blindly, you risk buying at the top of a bubble, and when bubbles burst, the last ones holding the bag are the ones who lose the most. Now, I'm not saying gold prices will crash tomorrow, but I am saying this. Understand the game you're playing. Smart investing is about managing risk, not just chasing shiny objects. And if you want to dive even deeper into this, I'm hosting my biggest investor workshop of the year on August 12th. It's completely free, and it's happening twice that day, once at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and again at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be walking through how to navigate investing in a world of rising debt, political shifts, and rapid AI changes. We've sold out every session before, so if you're interested, grab your spot with the link down in the description. Here is the bottom line. America is entering what some people are calling a debt spiral. Our national debt keeps rising. Interest payments are eating up nearly $1 trillion a year, and confidence in the dollar is being tested. Gold is becoming a safe house again, not just for hedge funds and billionaires, but potentially for regular investors, too. So, what do you think? Do you see gold as a smart long-term investment, or just old-school doomsday insurance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Below I read every single one. And if this gave you a new perspective, do me a favor and hit that like button, share this video with a friend who's curious about investing, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. Because trust me, this story is just getting started. Thanks for watching.